Good evening. It is a dark and stormy night, so it's a perfect time for Halloween. We're not anywhere near Halloween per se, but it is always Halloween in my soul. So Halloween is always good to talk about. So for this video, I wanted to do something kind of fun. Halloween-like, but it's not Halloween, but it is. So let's concentrate on the possibility of villains versus monsters. I have a theory, and the theory is really a competition between Disney and Universal. So last year, for vacation, my family went to Orlando, and it was a whirlwind trip, and it was going to be our last family vacation, probably with all of us, because my older two are of adult age. So we said from here on out, or from that time on out, they wouldn't need to be paying for their own way, or at least a lot of it. We would help with some, but this was going to be the last big blowout. So we did a whirlwind trip, 2 days at Disney, 2 days at Universal. I don't recommend that. That was a whole lot to cram into an itty bitty amount of time. So that could be a whole other video by itself, those tips and tricks kind of things. I know there's a lot of those out there, but I just wanted to focus on something that kind of delights my brain. So we discovered after we left Disney last July, we went really close to the last week of July, and we went, did our thing, then 2 days at Universal. So we went on Tuesday, Wednesday, if I remember right. Yes, Tuesday, Wednesday to Disney, and then Thursday, Friday at Universal. Come to find out, on Friday, they started testing face character villains in Epcot. We missed it by 2 days. Do you know how upset I was about that? So mad. So mad. Because there is something so cool about the Dark of the Villains of Disney. And to miss just their kickoff to start bringing villains out by 2 days was really frustrating. Why did they bring them out the end of July? They were testing the run for some of the newer characters or newer cast members to be friends of these characters in time for Halloween, because we were just a couple weeks out from Mickey's Not So Scary kicking off. So I got thinking about some of that. That was stuck in my head because we had just visited Universal, which has the Monster Cafe and is tied to the classic monsters: Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Mummy, Invisible Man, Werewolf, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't think I'm missing any. If I am, I'm really sorry. But the good classic monsters. And that Monsters Cafe does surround those characters. There wasn't a whole lot of that, but we recently discovered here in the last couple of months, maybe, not very long, they've opened a Monsters store, March store in Universal. And I believe it's close to the cafe, which we're going to be able to find out what that is this summer. I'm really, really excited. So it got me thinking how cool it would be, just kind of thinking about the villains and the monsters, especially around Halloween. It's been rumored off and on for quite some time that there would be something called Dark Kingdom coming to Disney, which is a whole new park. So they've already got, of course, Magic Kingdom and all the lands that are tied to it. They have Hollywood Studios, they have Epcot, and Animal Kingdom right now. And I am really talking about Orlando right now, because that's where we went, and that's going to be the focus. And I know they've got a lot more room to grow out there. And I don't know if you can see all the wind blowing and stuff. This is good for this video. With that, the thought of Dark Kingdom, it was supposed to surround yet another castle, the castle of Maleficent. I love Maleficent. She is so awesome as a villain. But it would be her castle as the centerpiece of this land for villains, and the villains could come out. So it's probably not really set for your little kids for all the time. But what a fun, dark, kind of creepy thing. Gives another feel to go along with Haunted Mansion, which I'm kind of channeling right now. I kind of like it. And Tower of Terror, which I love Tower of Terror, which is in Hollywood Studios. So, and Hollywood Studios in Orlando still has Tower of Terror. It is no longer there at Disneyland in California, unfortunately. They did turn that into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but they kept it in Walt Disney World. So I was very happy about that. So we got to take in the creepiness of that, the creepiness of the Haunted Mansion, but we did not get any of the villains except for when we went to see Fantasmic. Highly recommend that show. Probably one of my favorite shows I have ever seen anywhere. So, and it does involve Ursula and the Mirror and Maleficent, and it's fantastic. So I highly recommend it if you go. And that show happens at both Disneyland and Disney World for sure. Anyway, the thought of Dark Kingdom has kind of dwindled in the mind of Disney. I guess I don't know why it's not happening or what happened or why it fell through. However, I do want to say that there's been a rumor out there, possibly fleeting, about Universal maybe having a land dedicated to the classic monsters. I'm so excited. I love that thought, even if it's just a rumor. Supposedly, there's some concept art kind of out there, and it appears that it could be surrounding a castle. What? A castle that's Dracula's, and it would be for all the classic monsters. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that thought. Even if it's just a rumor, that's so exciting to me. So, here's my thought. That took a long time for me to get to why. I think we will get both the classic monsters land and Dark Kingdom. Are you ready? Okay. So, Disney, back when they had Walt Disney World, Walt Disney World and Disneyland, there was a thought process that they wanted to do something kind of tied to making movies, that kind of thing. So they were going to make, just kind of build a pavilion. A pavilion just kind of based on that. Until they found out that down the street, there was going to be an entire theme park built specifically about making movies that Universal did or was planning to do. And so Disney was not going to have that. You can't have that down the street and just have a little mini pavilion of talking about these things. So, hence the creation of Hollywood Studios in the Disney parks, or as a Disney park. So the competition was up, right? Right? I know. So Universal, of course, has the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's one of my favorite places in the whole world. I had no idea how badly I would want to get back to there, which is a whole other story on its own. But we are looking forward to going back. And though Universal is very dicey, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, both in Diagon Alley, which is in the Universal Studios side, and in Hogsmeade, my very favorite place in the whole world, I think, over in Islands of Adventure, are so immersive. It's incredible, magical. What you do get in the Disney parks, Disney works very, very hard to create magic, right? So in creating magic, they do a great job in Magic Kingdom. I don't know about so much Hollywood Studios, which is almost scary to say, kind of sad to say. But it doesn't have the same magic as Magic Kingdom and the lands tied to it. However, the Star Wars stuff that is in Hollywood Studios, oh my goodness. Incredible. We love that so much. So then when the thought of Galaxy's Edge is coming out, which as of this recording, it is about to open in Disneyland. So in just a few days, about 10, 11 days, it's going to be opening. We have seen and kept up with so much stuff on how that's going to work. It's appearing to be as immersive and maybe even more so immersive than the Wizarding World at Harry Potter over at Universal. My family and I have discussed that we believe that Imagineers went and took serious notes from the Wizarding World and really put it into action with Galaxy's Edge, with the things that they have planned beyond just the food and the cast members that are going to be about, but you become part of the story. You're not really part of the story, you're in bits and pieces of the story at Wizarding World. So if you get chosen for the wand ceremony, you kind of become part of a story, but it's not really ongoing through the entire land. You get to see parts of the story, like traveling back and forth between Hogsmeade and King's Cross on the Hogwarts Express. You get to see a story go down, but you're not necessarily part of it, you're sitting in it. Galaxy's Edge, you're going to be in it. More than just in it, you're a part of it. You become part of the ongoing story. Part of that has to do with your magic band that you have, and it starts building a story, like some of the other video games that are out there where it starts building a memory and you become part of a game, which I think is absolutely incredible. Well, we've also noticed in the meantime that as we're keeping up with some of the videos and some of the news and everything with both Disney and Universal, because we got to keep up with all that, beyond just Mickey's Not So Scary right now, that they're always building up, and I can't wait. I'm going to get there one of these days. Looking forward to that. Hoping to get there in 2020. So that's my goal. But that's usually when the villains come out. So it's been interesting because there have been photos and videos as of late with villains wandering around Disney, like Magic Kingdom, which tells me they could be inching toward the thoughts of maybe that Dark Kingdom. Why do I say that? Because, like I just mentioned a little bit ago, if Universal is putting out there that they are going to maybe possibly do this land with a castle based on the monsters, and they can make that happen, Disney does not want to be outdone with that. So, my thought process is they are working toward Dark Kingdom. And with Disney Plus getting ready to come out later this year, and all the movies and all the shows and everything that they have planned, one of the rumored ones is a villain-based series that may be coming out on Disney Plus. I'm so excited for that thought process. I hope that one happens, because if that happens, Dark Kingdom is more than likely going to happen. Then, should Dark Kingdom happen, Universal does not want to be outdone, and they will probably put in that classic Monsters Land. Or, even with the build of the villains at Disney, if Universal looks at that as competition and wants to one-up them and go ahead and complete the land, or at least get that started for the classic monsters, Disney won't want to be outdone with that and will want to showcase their villains and do it in Dark Kingdom. I can probably see them keeping the villains more or less in Dark Kingdom at that point, until like the Booty You parade during Mickey's Not So Scary, and even through some of the after hours parties and dessert parties and that kind of thing throughout. So that is my thought process on this dark and stormy night, with the rain beating down, and there's been some rumbles of thunder. I could not help myself but put on one of my favorite costuming pieces and gothic necklace here, and to put out my my conspiracy theory that is Halloween based, but would be all the time, just like it's so outside of Halloween Horror Nights. The classic monsters would be happening all the time at Universal outside of the Halloween time, and the villains would be much more prevalent throughout at Dark Kingdom. Oh, can you imagine how that is going to be? I need Disney and Universal to stay in this competition. And I think you do too, especially if you love Halloween, if you love the old school horror and monsters, because that's what Universal was based on. They have not done a whole lot with that really, except during Halloween Horror Nights. So if they can kick that up, that is their basis. That's what they were built on. And then for the Dark Kingdom to come. So 2 new castles coming in. So we would have, at Walt Disney World, we would have Cinderella's castle, Maleficent's castle. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. And then over at Universal, we could have Hogwarts and Dracula's castle. All the castles. So much Halloween. Think about that one and let me know what you think. If you think that's a possibility, or if you know anything else, I would love to know. Thanks so much for dealing with me and my Halloween soul. And I hope to do this again. Maybe not necessarily in Halloween per se, but we'll see what happens. Later.